Yet another weekend with some questionable refereeing decisions. There were some questionable ones in the Arsenal-Chelsea match, some questionable ones in some other Premier League games, Burnley game, the Palace game. I mean, has it got better from years ago? Because when it was really bad, it was manager sacking bad. Has it got even worse with the introduction of technology, with VAR, with goal line technology? Do we need more technology? But from a referee standpoint, should we be going to VAR as much as we are? Referees should be making the correct on-field decision and then not relying so much on VAR and using it as a tool to help them come to the correct decision. Are we using it correctly like that? I definitely think in the Man United Palace game it was used correctly.
Oh, bet you do, yeah. Useless Chris Kavanagh doesn't know how to referee a football match to save his life.
Yeah, so Chris Kavanagh refed the Man United Crystal Palace game. It was his first game back since making those quite possibly some of the worst refereeing decisions in the Premier League. I mean, if you eliminate Lee Mason from that, because Lee Mason was one of the worst referees that I've ever watched ref. And Chris Kavanagh has now sort of like taken on the baton to become that by the looks of it. Because, yeah, those decisions in that Newcastle game were shocking. Quite rightly, he was given the time off, whatever he needed to go and get better. And then
Didn't work.
And then he came back to Old Trafford. Big game for Palace, big game for United, and decided, I think in the first minute or so, to yellow card somebody, which I thought was quite funny. Just showed that he's got no control over the game immediately. And yeah, the consistency is still not there from referees. I know he had a big decision to make in the red card and the penalty, which I think he even needed help from that because he couldn't make it himself. But I think he got it right in the end, didn't he, Mark?
No, actually, this is the problem. Like, he's just come back after the shocking performance between Newcastle and Villa, gets demoted or whatever happens, you know. So then the next game back, you think, okay, in my time off or whatever happened, did he go refereeing the championship or whatever? I'll actually think of how to referee a game again. And no, like, you can't give a penalty when the foul was the outside the box. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, it was possibly a goal scoring opportunity, so you would have given a red card. But the foul was outside the box. As soon as he went in the box, he had his hand just on his shoulder a little bit. He didn't pull him back, didn't do anything. It's just natural defending of trying to get your body in front of the ball to get back on it. It's nothing else. You go VAR, and the VAR tells you, yeah, okay, red card denies goal scoring opportunity, no penalty. But then you come on the mic and you say penalty as well. What's wrong with you? The chief of the referees, Howard Webster, actually come out and said you've done that wrong. How many more opportunities is this guy going to get to referee a football match in the Premier League at the highest level in football and keep getting it wrong every time he steps on the pitch? The referees and standards in the game, not just the Premier League but around the world, there was some terrible refs, and at the moment, the introduction of VAR has affected them massively because they can't ref a football match anymore. They don't know what they're doing. I feel sorry for all these refs, all these teams that when the referees come down to the Premier League to go ref their games in the lower divisions because they've been dropped because they can't do the job. The referees that are coming down to the lower leagues are relying on VAR. In the lower leagues, there is no VAR, so they have to be a referee. You know, it's just ridiculous. The cookable referee decision itself, I agree, red card if it is a goal scoring opportunity, but to give a penalty as well from where the foul was outside the box and where he dragged him, it's just stupid decision. It's surprising that around the football world of pundits of what they've said about it, and they're all in agreement. Never normally happens. Normally, you know, you probably get this form of referees that are piped up and they're agreeing with their mate as usual, like they all do, because they don't want to say, oh no, I've got to go for a beer with this guy in the weekend, so I'll agree with my mate. You know, you actually look at former professional footballers like saying that was a terrible decision. But absolutely ridiculous.
So if you go back a couple of weeks, Cucurella brought down Harry Wilson when it was a long ball over the top. He brought him down. The foul happened outside the box. Harry Wilson went into the box, fell over. Well, not fell over, but he continued his foul into the box. Now, the rule is if you continue a foul into the box, it should be a penalty. That's the rule. It's like, you know, it's like giving that sort of like beneficial thing to the attacker, right? But that was deemed by the referee to be outside the box. VAR confirmed it to be outside the box. And
exactly
what I struggle with sometimes is understanding whether or not refs have seen that happen and gone, oh, I can reference this moment in time and go, this happened in a game 3 weeks ago at this level. blah, 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 this happened. And in that game, the right decision was made. So why don't I use that as a reference for my decision in this game?
Yeah.
And even if VAR send him to the monitor and he goes, oh no, but this happened very similarly in Cucurella, what's different? What's difference between this one and this one? I don't really think there's too much difference. So I'm happy with my on-field decision or whatever it was at the time. And I'm going to make it so like it's outside the box. But again, the red card I think was probably correct. I just think the lack of consistency, not just lack of, there's very similar things that happen in every single football match. And I don't understand why, like if you're a referee, like why you don't go and watch that whole, your levels games, right? So don't go and watch the EFL, for example. Go and watch the Premier League matches. Watch every single Premier League match. So you have a reference then. Because it's very likely it will happen again, right? And what
Yeah.
happened with Lacroix was quite very similar to Cucurella in that it was happening outside the box. When he got to the
Yeah.
box, he sort of like backed off a bit, but the player then tumbled into the box. It was a foul, but I don't think it was a penalty.
No, it was a foul outside the box, definitely. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. It was a
No,
red
no. So,
card if it was goal scoring, but like the foul was outside the box. Where he pulled him back was outside the box. The
yeah.
foul then stopped. It was just a little hand on the shoulder.
But I started looking at the rules and going, oh, well, he went into the box, therefore it's a penalty. But the rules were the same when Cucurella done it to Harry Wilson.
Yeah, they haven't
And that was
changed.
deemed
Yeah,
outside the
exactly.
box. And that's
Yeah.
where it's like, it just, the references, there's so many references. Like even watching every single Champions League match, you'll come across something that when you go and ref on a Saturday, that will happen in your game. You'll know what, you'll be like, this is the level, this was decided. And this is where the consistency should be coming in. Yeah, I thought, as soon as I saw Chris Kavanagh's name, I was like, yeah, you're going to get
How do you
stick
think the
up it.
Palace fans and probably Man United fans thought at the same time, to be honest? Like, it doesn't surprise me he comes back for a Palace game, to be honest.
That's sort of like goes with what, you end up getting a lot of terrible, like really terrible referees. Not just you, but a lot of teams sort of
Yeah,
around
yeah.
mid-table and stuff like that. But I mean, it's like at the weekend, you see what happened to Daniel Farke getting sent off.
Yeah, that was weird.
Like,
I mean, because
it's like,
I get that he walked over to the ref and said something, but then the ref didn't even give him it like less than 10 foot to get near him and put the red card out.
yeah, just because he walked over to him.
Because he walked over. Yeah, it's weird,
And
yeah.
that was the same ref that refed the Tottenham Arsenal North London derby the week before, and there was like challenges in that they didn't even pull out his yellow card for.
Yeah, yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense half the time. I mean, these are the rules. Certain rules obviously are deemed yellow cards, but yeah, I mean that was another bizarre sort of like situation where what was going through that ref's mind?
No.
I'm just going to red card him. I've had enough of him. I'm just going to red card him, and it
Yeah.
starts becoming more personal and start being like, if you're not going to do this, or if you're going to give me that attitude, I'm going to get you sent and send you off, sort of thing.
Like when players do it during the game, they run up to the referee straight away gives a yellow card.
No, they don't.
So why is
I know
it
what
different?
you're saying.
Not always,
Yeah,
I know, but like,
but it's
but they do, they give them a card if they step over the line. So why is it different from when the manager comes up to you, gives you a bit of some?
yeah, should
Unless
just
he
give him
called
a
you,
yellow card and
like,
said, and then
yeah,
he
yellow
could have
card
then
said,
gone, okay,
like,
I'll talk to you after. If you're going to be like that, I'll
yeah.
talk to you after, because they
But
can
like,
go and
it's
talk
what,
to them, can't they? But
yeah, they go talk to him, but also the referees are mic'd up. So if Daniel Fark's come over, effing and blinding, saying he's a this, whatever, they're going to listen to it, and then they can review the footage, give it to the FA. FA can then decide, okay, he's gone way too far. Here's a 3-match ban. Like, listen to what the managers are saying. The managers are coming over to say
ask you
you shouldn't have
questions.
given that. Ask
They
them a
want to get
question.
your headspace because they've got
Yeah,
a match in like 3
they
days'
want to.
time.
They want to know
They
what's happened.
Yeah, they want to know whether they've got to tell their players to not do this or not do
And it's
that.
the
Or
same thing when it comes to the players as well. The players, they come on, they want to. A lot of them, they go up to them. The referee gives a yellow card. A lot of players turn around like, "What was that for?" Like they turn around like, "What the hell?" And they've gone up the question and basically probably just asked him, "What was it for, ref?" And ref's like, "I don't want to speak to you. Yellow card." What? Just like what? Like I get it if he's called, like I said, swore at him and called him this, and that. But again, he's mic'd up, and it's saying the FA needs to then listen to it and say, "Okay, yeah, he's gone too far. You can't be doing that. Here's a fine. Here's a whatever." But they're too protected. Every decision that happens, like Chris Kavanagh after the game, if they had a way of the referees coming out after the game and explaining the decisions and what they made and why they made them, we'd understand a lot more. But we as fans, we're going to games, like if you're at the game, you don't know what's going on. All you hear is the VAR thing come up saying, "Oh, VAR, possible penalty, possible handball, possible red card, whatever." And you're like, what's the decision for? And then you're listening to Sky Sports or TNT, the commentators, like, then they're questioning it. Of what's going on, and then they don't really know because they can't hear what's going on through the mics or whatever, supposedly. Don't know if that's true or not, but we need more clarity of what's going on. And you get Harold Webb comes out for 2 days, 3 days later. Oh yeah, that was wrong. This was right. That was wrong. This was right. It's like, well, that's not helping any of our teams. Like if that was Manchester United versus Wolves or Burnley, West Ham, and then they lost that game because of dodgy referee calls, where they are on the table at the moment, that could quite rightly send them down for that decision, for them to then overturn it. Then they go into Championship, they lose a lot of money, they lose a lot of their players, they lose a lot of their, revenue coming in because no one wants to go watch a game in Championship compared to the Premier League. You could destroy that club. That club could go bust,
Yeah,
because you might not get out the Championship or, look at Luton. They went from Premier League to League One in the space of 2 years.
it's happened
You
for
know,
years like that. I
yeah,
remember Lee Mason's testimonial, his last refereeing match, was the playoff final.
God,
And Huddersfield should have had a penalty in that, and they didn't get it, so Nottingham Forest went up. I'm not saying they would have scored the penalty, but they should have had a penalty.
they
Quite
could have
clearly
scored
got
and
caught
yeah,
in the back of the
could
foot,
have
I
been
think it was.
changed. Everything, yeah.
And he refereed that game terribly. And you're just like,
Wow.
why was Lee Mason even near a playoff final?
No, they gave him that because, like you said, it was his
Yeah,
last ever fixture
yeah,
in one of the most important games in the football calendar to get a massive windfall of money to go up into the Premier League as well.
yeah. Yeah,
Right.
it's crazy. I mean, the Arsenal game, Pedro Neto got booked for dissent, I think it was.
Yeah. He also came out, Neto, and was like, I don't know why I got the yellow card, but then there's videos of the referee clearly showing to his face, here's the yellow card. So I don't know what Neto was thinking of to get the other card, and then wondering why he sent off.
I don't know why he got the yellow card. The only replay we saw was him like throwing his arms up in the air because I think they was obviously complaining about the corner or something. And yeah, he got booked for that. And then obviously then took down Martinelli, which again, break. Martinelli goes past Pedro Neto. Neto brings him down. Martinelli gets up immediately, and I'm talking immediately, and runs onto the ball. He's now on the 18-yard box. The ref blows the whistle.
Oh, wow.
And he blows the
Wow.
whistle. He blows the whistle and goes, "Oh yeah, no, but I'm giving him a yellow card, and then it's a red sort of thing." It was almost like he was going, "No, I'm justifying me blowing my whistle." I was like, "No, but you can play on and then come back and then go yellow card, red card." And he done that throughout the game. He was just like constantly like counter-attacking football. He did not want counter-attacking football. If he saw a foul, he would blow in that whistle. He did not want any counter-attacking football.
This is why they say football's so boring nowadays as well.
It's just, yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah. Next year, there's going to be the changes to the VAR that can get involved if the lead up to a goal was deemed incorrect. So I don't know, a ball went out of play for a throw in. It should have gone out for a throw in, but it didn't. It then hit a player, went up for a corner. They scored from the corner. They'll be, and we've got to
yellow
adjust to
cards
that. We've got to adjust
the cards as well. They're doing that for as well, apparently, aren't they?
And we've got to adjust to that. I think for me though, there's just there is an element of them being a human being, and they will make mistakes. But where those mistakes occur, that's where VAR should be getting involved. And Chris Kavanagh is an example of those mistakes, which isn't nice because I'm sure that it's a lot of abuse and stuff like that. If anything, the FA stitched him up and stitched all the referees up by not having VAR at big grounds in the lower leagues of the FA Cup, or the League Cup. I think there's just too much of this sort of like, oh, I've had enough of VAR now, let's get rid of it. So they're like, well, we won't have VAR to make it fair for everybody. I mean, when VAR first came in, there was incorrect decisions. The PGMOL would release statements, and they still do this.
But that doesn't help any of the teams that it's affected, though.
No, it doesn't.
That's the thing.
No, 100%.
Yes, thanks for telling us about that, but it doesn't help us at all. It's too late now. We're relegated.
And it's all right saying that when that was happening, but then the fact that we're still seeing it happen is where there's no improvement. That's where it gets frustrating, and that's where ex-footballers start going, "Don't like this, I don't like this, and I don't like that. This is ruining the game. This is ruining the game." I think that football's become so fast, and the football players are so athletic now that referees need more support. I think that football does need more referees. I think it does need more referees.
We're saying like 5 refs.
Like, just take one element away from the referee, like time. Why do they even need to to be in
But
charge
yeah,
of the
the
time.
fourth official could do that. That's the thing.
There's
Fourth
no
official could do
reason
that.
for them. Take that
Yeah.
away from them, right? The players can't go, oh, you adding this on. Eliminate that. Eliminate all of that. That takes the stress away from the referee, right? That means that they can be focused more on the decisions and the rules of the game rather than having to look at a watch, having to go, oh, yes, no, I am looking at it. Having to go, they do this thing now with keepers where they're going like this. They're going like 5, 4, 3, and the keeper's
Sorry,
got
mate.
to,
Yeah.
yeah. And well, keepers have cottoned on to that. What keepers do now is they try and get fouls, so it becomes a free kick, so they can slow down.
David
Yeah,
Rao.
yeah, David Ray. Well, they put the ball on the ground, but the refs having to think about that whilst also thinking about something else or thinking of what's going on, why these two players like doing this. So it's like the corner thing. The corner thing to me should be allowed in football, but the refs need more support with that.
No, see, this is the thing. As an Arsenal fan, yes, you'd
No,
say
no,
that,
no.
but I think they need a rule for that.
I
They
just
need to have no one's allowed, like bit like the wall in a free kick. You're not allowed to be a meter within it. There should be a meter rule. You can't be within the keeper. The keeper should be in when the ball comes in, you're about
yeah,
to jump up the thing, but
anything like that.
beforehand, you
Again,
should
that
be
would be
anywhere
enough.
near the keeper.
That would be another rule the ref would have to deal with, and that's what I'm saying. Like, my point is, I think we have to start removing stuff from the referee, and that's not even us as the Premier League or anything like that. That is FIFA and the bodies from the world organisations of football that make up these rules.
The last couple of days that they're possibly looking into do coaches challenges, a bit like the NFL. It's been suggested before, but I think now it's come under consideration more now because of just getting stupid. You know, I mean, the NFL has it. Yes, okay, it's
Thing
more
is,
time added on to look at
yeah,
stuff, but if the manager feels correctly hard done by, then fair enough. Maybe you get one a game, and then if you're wrong, then you lose it. If you're right, congratulations, you got that. But don't have like 3 a game.
the thing is that anyone that doesn't watch the NFL thinks that that's the only time they stop the clock. They review pretty much every play nowadays. They review every touchdown. They review every field goal. They review every time a point is scored, they will review it. The only reason that challenges really in my opinion, that they exist is because obviously the video replay could be done after the next play's been made, because you can speed up NFL plays very quickly. So it's quite a detriment to you. So what, do you lose a sub if you're wrong? Like a substitution if you're wrong? Like, there can't just be challenge. Like, there has to be like, well, if you're wrong, then
you lose something.
you
Yeah.
lose something. You know what I mean? Or like one of your players gets booked. Like,
It's so harsh.
can you imagine?
Just like you'd be a manager looking around like who should I give it to?
Yeah.
Who should I
The
give it
ref's
to?
like,
Is it the World Cup final? Wasn't there saying like 13 bookings or something during the thing? If you're the manager looking around like who hasn't been booked, guys, put your hands up.
yeah, can you imagine like doing it in like the I don't know, it's like it happens in like the first 10 minutes and you're like,
God,
challenge,
yeah.
and they're like, no, it's not a thing, right? Who do you want me to book? And you're looking around and you're going, who's this not gonna affect? Probably be like my forward, maybe.
So
Yeah,
probably the
book my
keeper, but
forward.
then
And then
probably the
your
keeper. But if
forward.
you want a time waste, the keeper's the one you want a time waste with, so you
Yeah.
can't do that no more.
So if you could change something, a rule that would have to be implemented and could be reviewed by VAR, or add something to football in general, so not just the Premier League but football, what would you change, Mark, or add?
I think the biggest one is the whole sleeve line one. Forget about the sleeve line of where it stops, like where the ball can touch to say, oh, it's not a handball. Just have anything that's below the shoulder, that's part of the arm, that's handball. That's the biggest one because it stops all the arguments if it was handball or not. Because every week, or not every week, but every so often you get one that's like, oh, well, last week it was lower than that and you gave it, but this week it's higher. It's like, no, just have the whole arm, anything with the arm, the whole sleeve line to, is it a handball? Should it be a goal? Just have it, anything on the arm in general, lower than the shoulder. Just to, scrap that kind of rubbish, and then you don't have to any arguments like of where this sleeve line rubbish is.
I think they could use technology for that. I think they can track the ball, right? So track the ball, silhouette the player, bit of technology that goes, touched him here on this part of the arm. I think that would make sense, like having a change to that. I don't, in my head though, I don't think that that's a refereeing issue. I just think that's a football issue. The ball is traveling about in different places all the time, and it can hit like your shoulder but it's also your arm. But the sleeve thing, I think, was brought in as a let's trial it, let's see how it's doing. I can see in the future though that changing. But you're right, people can have long sleeves, shorts. Like if you've got a long sleeve, like the sleeve line isn't very clear.
So you can have
Yeah.
the sleeve pulled all the way down and past your elbow. So like, some of these players could have it, and then like, well, it's still the sleeve line because that's where my sleeve is. And there's the argument there. Just have it anything lower than like just here. You can, top of the shoulder here and everything. That's fine, but like anywhere on your arm, leave it at that. Like that, anything at that is handball.
Do you like the silhouette thing that they do?
I do, but the problem is I find with that it comes in 3 minutes after it happens, like when they show where it is. And I do
Right.
find it's technology of the day. Technology can be altered. So is this their way of just justifying themselves
Right.
by saying, "Oh, it's definitely offside because oh look, this is what the silhouette is." In a way, I prefer the lines than that. But if it was done quicker and it was there and then like shown straight away to the fans that are watching or wherever it is, to the VAR, then fine. It's just clearly tracking where it is in play, but they show it always 3-4 minutes after on the TV. And like I said, you can change stuff. If you're good enough to videotape, you can change where thing is just to justify that you was right in the first place.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's frustrating when that happens. I think the rules are clear for certain parts of handball, but unclear in other parts. Hopefully, we'll find something to change that in the future.
I mean, what about the rule of this? I've said to you before, like corners or free kicks. Like either have a certain amount of space between the goalie and defence, or nobody's allowed in the 6 yard box for corners or free kicks. Because it's getting silly now. The keeper, one little touch, the keeper goes down, claims a free kick. The referees give it 85% of the time as a free kick. But then you look back on it, it's his own defender that's pushed him over, or he's just fell over with a little tap on the nose.
I think this has been an ongoing problem for the last 20 years. I mean,
But now you've got the tech to judge this, though. That's the thing. And if you actually have a certain amount of space where you can't be anywhere the keeper, like in that scenario from when it's happening, because they're
it's
getting
not
pushed
just
into
that
the back of the
though.
net.
It's all the hugging and the locking arms, and that's been going on for years. I mean,
Of
how
course,
many
yeah.
penalties have England won in World Cups because of that? Like the amount of times that we just went down because somebody grabbed us. I think this comes down to having more referees. I think I think the game is just it's too fast, and we're too scared to make decisions that go away from the old, oh, well, this is how it's always been kind of approach. And when we did make that decision and we had those referees that used to sit
On
just
the goal
behind
and
the goal
stuff.
line,
Yeah.
they weren't referees, they were
Second linesman in a way, weren't
second
they?
linesmen, weren't they?
Yeah.
And to me, I don't when it happens to Arsenal or when Arsenal do it, I don't have a problem with having that sort of competitiveness around corners. But I don't think it's one person's decision, i.e. the referee, and the linesman's miles away. The linesman cannot make a decision
Yeah, yeah.
on corners. Yeah, let's just be clear. So we're only counting the referee. It cannot just be one person's decision whether somebody's dragged someone down or not dragged someone down, or the referee or the goalkeeper has been impeded or not impeded. That can't be like one person's decision. To me, if they want to keep corners the way they are, then they've got to have more referees.
They've got to be a lot stricter as well, I think.
And whether
They
those
got to
are,
start booking. I think they
yeah,
should probably start booking players straight away. Just
but
to be like,
again,
you do it, that's it, you're done.
we've got set piece coaches now, right? So why not
Yeah,
have set
Arsenal's,
piece
Arsenal's
refs?
basically built a statue for him, haven't they?
Skilled in set pieces. They're skilled in understanding the rules of a set piece. They're skilled in understanding whether somebody is being grabbed or faking being grabbed or being blocked or goalkeeper is actually fouled. And they are responsible for the decisions made from set pieces. And then they move away from the rest of the match once the set piece has, like, for a set period of time or whatever, and then it goes back to the referee. Well, there's nothing stopping the ref also getting involved. The ref doesn't stop becoming the ref, but you have a set piece ref that deals with the understanding of the set piece rules and is much closer to the action so that they don't have to run up the field if someone counterattacks. They're much closer
Well,
to the action.
it's where they need have one behind the goal sort of thing. Like back on, like when we said about the second linesman thing, but have him behind the goal.
Why does he have to be behind the goal? Why can he not be in and around what's going on?
It's like with the set piece referee though, if they did do it, is best option to hire for people to deal with that would be ex-pros.
Let's not get started on ex pros. They
But
got
no, but
they don't
they're
even
the
know the
ones
rules of the
that have.
game as it is now, let alone
It don't, obviously, I'm not saying like ex-pros that are in their 50s, 60s, whatever, but ex-pros that have played the game in the last 20 years, 15 years.
right.
No, but like, as in, you know what I'm saying, but they obviously, their job of being an ex-pro, they've learnt to the rules of the referees as well. Because they're the ones that throughout their whole careers have been used to dealing with the fight in the box, the pushing, the shoving, the hugging. Referees
I
haven't been.
completely
Referees don't have no
understand that.
clue.
I don't think that they're impartial enough as a referee, personally, and I don't think that they fully understand the modern game as it is. But there's nothing wrong with that sort of like potential idea. We're not talking an extra linesman. We're not talking somebody that's going to go. I think something did happen in that. You might somebody that's going to go. I saw this. This is not the rules. Therefore, it's this foul. I saw this person dive, I saw this happen on this, therefore it's definitely a goal. Now, you do get that from VAR, I understand that, from video assistant refereeing. I don't think just putting someone behind a goal I think they have to be closer to the set piece action, have that only in their mind as a set piece, rules and that. And the referee can still make decisions on set pieces exactly as he would in the normal game, but he's the person running up and down the field. So he might be like, "Was there a foul there? Oh, quick, run after! Like I've got to run after that." To me, we have to start thinking to ourselves: if we don't want to ruin the game by going, "Oh, well, we just want to eliminate that from football completely," we start bringing in specialist referees for certain scenarios. And to me, adding one additional fifth official to the match that looks after set pieces. I mean, how many set pieces are there in a game? Like,
Depends if
imagine,
it's Arsenal.
imagine